Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. It's a great honor to get up and speak to this important issue. I'd like to start by recognizing the voters in Nanaimo Ladysmith and thank them for seeing fit to elect me, and for my team, my volunteers and my family for supporting me through this process. This is my first time speaking, having an opportunity to speak in Parliament. Thank you. And this is an interesting bill to get up and speak to. My sister is a police officer. She's served some 23 or 24 years with the Ontario Provincial Police. And she knows that when police are caught out doing things that they shouldn't be doing, it reflects poorly on all police officers. And we need to respect the work that our men and women in uniform do. So members of our armed forces, members of our police forces, members of the Canadian Border and Service Agency. And it's very important to have oversight over these bodies so that when there are legitimate complaints from citizens, it doesn't taint an organization. And I've just been reading through a news article about a woman who was strip searched coming into Canada, treated very poorly, and seeing that there are many cases like this. When we cross the border, we enter effectively a legal no man's land where we have no rights, where we must do what we are told, where, you know, when you're asked to hand over your cell phone and your computer and give over your passwords, you're giving away some of your most personal information and letting people dig into your lives. And when people are disrespected in this process, they need a proper way to complain about how they've been treated. And so I think that this bill, C-98, creating an independent review and complaints mechanism for CBSA is very important. The objective is to promote public confidence in the system and for the employees, and those employees deserve to have confidence in their work and what they do. They deserve confidence and they deserve the respect of the public. But the existing Civilian Review and Complaints Commission for the RCMP would assume responsibility for review and complaints for the CBSA as well, and it would be renamed as the Public Complaints and Review Commission and divided into RCMP units and a CBSA unit with similar powers, duties, functions, and some modifications. Why do we need this bill? Why do we need this oversight body? The CBSA is the only federal law enforcement agency without an oversight body. It holds significant powers, including to detain, search, use firearms, arrest non-citizens without a warrant, and conduct deportations. And we had a case, and the honourable member from Saanich Gulf Islands had to defend an Indigenous man who was handcuffed, detained, taken away from his home during Christmas because he had an issue with his citizenship, but had been a resident of Penelakut Island and an Indigenous person who has rights across the border because the Indigenous communities, the First Nations, in some cases don't recognize the border because the border is a false line that runs through their territories. And to have this person dealt with in this way, to be bound, to be detained, and to be forced from their home in this kind of ruthless way was highly problematic. And I think that having a complaints commission and somebody to review these kind of cases is important, to be able to look at the conduct of the officers that were involved in that case. It's reported that the CBSA investigated over 1,200 allegations of staff misconduct between January 2016 and mid-2018. Allegations included sexual assault, criminal association, and harassment. At least 14 people have died in custody since 2000. That is incredible. Those are incredible stats. And a good reason why we need some oversight over this organization, over this agency. This Public Complaints Commission would respond to a review conducted as a result of PMBS 205 in the 41st Parliament and the 2015 Senate report, Vigilance, Accountability and Security. In the fall of 2016, Minister Goodale announced government intention to address gaps in the CBSA's framework for external accountability, a feature already present in countries like UK, Australia, New Zealand, and France. And I know we're getting late in this Parliament, that we're early in the stages of this bill, but I think it's very important that we work on getting this through so that we can pass this before the House rises, and so that we can have proper oversight of the Canadian Border Services agencies, and people have a process to go through where they have confidence, and other members of the CBSA will know that there is a way for people who are bad apples in the system to have proper oversight over the kind of actions that they've taken, and the citizens of this country and people traveling to this country can have the full confidence that they will be treated with respect and dignity at our borders. Thank you. Madam Speaker, so I'd like to thank the honourable member for relating that story again, and the importance of ensuring that we have proper oversight to make sure that those honourable men and women in uniform have the respect and confidence of our citizens, of people traveling to this country. Again, our borders are legal no man's land, and we need to make sure that we have a proper oversight for people who do have legitimate complaints when they're mistreated at the border. So thank you again.